It looked like Bria Hartley just got instant karma, bro. She out for the season. I'm here to tell you the most dirtiest player in the WNBA contract has been written, bro. And I'm here to tell you she's out for the season. Yes, you heard me correctly. Yeah, man, Bria Hartley. So Connecticut PR has released a statement. Bria Hartley is to miss the remainder of the season.
Did Bria Hartley just pull off the dirtiest hit of the WNBA season and then instantly get smacked with karma herself? Fans are furious right now, and the drama is only getting messier. Sophie Cunningham went down hard with a torn MCL after a collision that didn't look innocent at all. To make it worse, new footage shows Hartley literally smirking while Sophie was still on the floor in pain. That's not a good look at all, and it's got everyone convinced this was no accident. But here's where the twist gets wild. The very same player accused of a dirty hit is now officially out for the season herself. The timing is crazy. Coincidence? Or the basketball gods serving some instant karma? If you're riding with Sophie, drop a speedy recovery wish down in the comments because she deserves all the love right now.
This picture is going viral with Bria Hartley with the sinister grin, right? This malevolent look that's on her face right now. Clearly smiling after injuring Sophie Cunningham, man.
The play itself didn't.
And let's talk about this photo, the one that's blowing up the internet. Bria Hartley, staring with this cold grin, almost like she's satisfied, while Sophie's down clutching her knee. Cameras caught everything. It wasn't just the collision that had fans fired up, it was the vibe after. Sophie took the full blow, hit the hardwood, grabbed her knee, and didn't even try to stand back up.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
Trainers had to rush in, teammates huddled around, and the whole arena went silent. That type of silence only hits when everyone in the building knows something's seriously wrong. Instead of people talking about Sophie's recovery, the conversation flipped fast to that sinister smirk. Call it a grin, call it a laugh, whatever you want. Fans saw one thing, a player enjoying the downfall of her opponent. That single frame spread like wildfire online, and suddenly, the injury wasn't even the main story.
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness. Should be. In a scary moment as we went to commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room.
The accusation was
The talk turned to intent, and the accusations were loud. That's not how someone reacts if it's an accident. Fans said the smile told the truth way louder than any press statement ever could. Even when Sophie herself tried to cool things down by saying she was just in the wrong spot, it didn't stop the outrage. People weren't buying it, because no matter what Sophie said, the photo didn't match up. And here's the kicker. This wasn't even the first time Hartley had been called out for crossing the line. That's why the smirk stung so bad. Fans already had a mental file full of Hartley's flare-ups and unnecessary physical plays. So instead of brushing it off, that grin became Exhibit A in the case against her. Commentators started calling it the dirtiest play of the season. Headlines were dripping with outrage. Fans flooded social media, demanding Hartley face some real consequences. And the refs? Oh, they caught heat too. People blasted them for once again swallowing the whistle when things got dangerous. Instead of protecting Sophie, the officials looked weak and inconsistent. The anger wasn't just at Hartley anymore. It was aimed straight at the league itself. Fans said the W punishes players for speaking on refs faster than it punishes reckless contact. That double standard had people heated. By the end of the week, this wasn't about one bad play. It was about the credibility of the whole league. And the deeper you look, the worse it gets.
Making all kind of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. All right? Winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a dirty.
Because Sophie Cunningham's injury didn't feel like an isolated case. It felt like the latest in a string of reckless moments. Bria Hartley had already been accused of crossing the line earlier this season. Remember when she straight up grabbed Angel Reese's hair during a rebound battle? Fans replayed the clip over and over. And let's be real, you don't confuse a rebound swipe with a fistful of braids. Angel's reaction said it all, and that video blew up quick. Then there was Rebecca Allen, who caught a hard shove from Hartley that fans swore up and down wasn't a normal basketball move. Each time, Hartley walked away without real punishment. But when you pile all those moments together, it starts looking less like coincidence and more like a pattern, and that's exactly how fans saw it. Sophie's collision was just the boiling point. By the time Sophie was down grabbing her knee, people already remembered the hair pull on Reese, the shove on Allen, and other rough plays. Stack them all together, and Hartley's reputation was sealed in the worst way. So when cameras caught that grin, fans weren't forgiving. They didn't see it as bad timing. They saw it as proof. The outrage only doubled because refs kept letting it slide. Fans called out the inconsistency. One night they let hard fouls fly, the next they're blowing the whistle on soft contact. There was no standard, and that inconsistency made people think refs were basically complicit, letting Connecticut play rough while players like Sophie paid the price. Add to that the fact Sophie herself got fined earlier this season just for calling out refs while Hartley kept getting away with reckless contact, and fans were done with the double standards. That's why this one photo, this one smirk, turned into a symbol. Because it wasn't just about Sophie's injury anymore. It was about a league that looked like it was protecting the wrong players. Fans were left asking, was Sophie Cunningham just another name on Bria Hartley's growing list of victims? Or was this the moment that finally forced the WNBA to step in and take a stand? Even Sophie's own family finally snapped. Her sister Lindsay and her mom Paula came forward blasting the WNBA, demanding to know why the league wasn't protecting players from reckless situations like this. It wasn't just angry fans anymore. Now her family was stepping in, and their frustration echoed exactly what Fever supporters had been screaming all along. If the league stayed quiet, players were only going to keep getting hurt. That's why suspension talks started flying immediately. Fans online pulled receipts from past cases where reckless plays got punished, and they wanted Hartley hit with the same treatment. No excuses. By then, people had already locked Hartley into the dirty player box, painted the league as soft and corrupt, and labeled Sophie as the one sacrificed. But before the WNBA could even issue a ruling, the entire narrative flipped on its head. Everyone was bracing for a suspension, expecting a strong response, when suddenly, boom! A shocking announcement dropped from the Connecticut Sun. Bria Hartley was done for the season, but not because of any punishment, because she tore her right knee meniscus. Her year ended instantly, and the timing? Beyond ironic. The parallels hit too perfectly. Sophie Cunningham had just been ruled out with a torn MCL, a crushing blow to Indiana's season. And now Hartley, the very player at the center of Sophie's injury, went down with her own devastating knee injury. Two players sidelined, both facing long recoveries, but only one was the victim of the other's reckless contact. For fans, it looked like karma showed up faster than anyone imagined. Almost immediately, the instant karma storyline took over social media. Fever fans, who had been raging with anger just days earlier, shifted their tone overnight. Suddenly, outrage turned into celebration, with posts calling Hartley's season-ending injury justice, payback, or poetic fairness. The WNBA didn't have to do a thing. Fans saw it as the basketball gods serving their own punishment. And the sting hit even harder for Connecticut. Hartley wasn't just some bench warmer, she was a key rotation piece, and losing her gutted their depth right when intensity spikes the highest. For a team built on physicality and toughness, the loss wasn't just ironic, it was a setback to their own ambitions. The same aggression that made Hartley a lightning rod became the hole her teammates had to fill without her. Meanwhile, Sophie kept proving why she's so easy to root for. Even after everything, she refused to drag Hartley through the mud. She told fans she held no ill will and still considered Hartley a friend. That calm honesty, that grace, only made the contrast sharper. Sophie as the resilient fighter versus Hartley as the league's so-called villain. But don't get it twisted. Sophie wasn't about to let herself get disrespected either. Within days of her surgery, she fired off a sharp tweet that shut everything down with just 4 words: F around and find out. That line told the whole story. Even sidelined, Sophie wasn't backing down from critics, trolls, or anyone taking shots at her family. The difference in her messaging was striking. On Twitter, it was fire, defiance, pure competitor energy. But on her podcast, she flipped the script, showing restraint, saying Hartley's hit was just a basketball play, and stressing she didn't believe it was malicious. One side showed her grace, the other her fight. Together, they painted the full picture of who Sophie really is, someone who refuses to hold grudges but also refuses to be walked over. On her show, she opened up about the hard road ahead, surgery, recovery, and being done for the season. She didn't sugarcoat the frustration, but she leaned into gratitude, thanking her Fever teammates and organization for keeping her lifted during the toughest moment of her career. She made it clear she wasn't fading into the background. She was still part of the fight. Her family, though, they weren't holding back at all. This is where that Cunningham DNA came shining through. Lindsay ripped into the WNBA for punishing Sophie with fines earlier in the year when she criticized officiating while completely ignoring the reckless plays that actually injure players. The double standard had her sister and mom furious, and fans couldn't help but agree. Her mom, Paula, didn't hold back for a second. She went even harder than Lindsay, straight up calling Hartley a disgruntled player, saying she causes problems everywhere she goes, and labeling her flat out mean and out of control. For fans already heated at the refs and furious at the Connecticut Sun, Paula's words hit like gasoline on an open flame. The outrage only grew louder, and the spotlight on the league's double standards burned even brighter. But through all this chaos, the Fever refused to fold. With injuries stacking up and hardship contracts being signed just to fill the roster, this team had every reason to crumble, and yet they showed grit. Kelsey Mitchell exploded for a 38-point masterpiece against the Sun, putting the league on notice and snatching the Eastern Conference Player of the Week award. That performance screamed resilience. Lexi Hull stepped up too, sliding into a leadership role and showing she could keep the squad steady even without Sophie on the floor. The toughness Sophie brought to the team didn't disappear with her injury. It spread through the roster like fire. And of course, there's Caitlin Clark. The Fever are still taking it slow with her recovery, giving only cautious day-by-day updates. But everyone knows the second she's back, everything changes. Sophie's injury could have been the breaking point, but instead it revealed something else. This team's fight runs deeper than anyone realized. Meanwhile, Bria Hartley's season-ending injury stole headlines, but that's not the story that's going to last. What people will remember is Sophie Cunningham. Her toughness, her honesty, and her refusal to let haters or injuries define her. She took an ugly situation and flipped it into fuel. And now, look at Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell keeps dropping big scoring nights. Lexi Hull is proving she's a steady leader under pressure. Aaliyah Boston keeps holding it down in the paint with toughness and dominance. And when Caitlin Clark finally steps back onto the court, suddenly the playoff picture feels wide open for the Fever. The league may have failed to protect Sophie, but Indiana doesn't need rescuing. They're already writing their own comeback story. And it's one the entire WNBA better pay attention to. If you support Sophie, then wish her a speedy recovery down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss the drama. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.